everyone. I'm Matt Clark, research analyst for Money and Markets, here with your weekly marijuana market update. Now, today I'm going to answer a viewer email about cannabis ETFs. But first, I do understand there's a lot of unease in the market right now. You know, things are up, things are down. It's one day it's up, things look good. Next day, just like kind of like the end of last week, the beginning of this week, the market dropped off and investors are left scrambling. But my good friend and chief investment strategist Adam O'Dell has created a system that helps you beat back inflation, protect your wealth, and profit from market uncertainty. This is a recession-proof strategy that can help you make money regardless of what direction stocks are heading. You can forget about all the fear-mongering. You can breathe easy. You don't have to pay attention to these financial headlines that move the markets. And Adam has unveiled this strategy earlier this week, but it's not too late to get in on this great opportunity. Now, just click that link right above here, and you can learn more about how you can beat back the fear and make money in any market condition. Now, let's get on with today's update. Robert emailed me recently at feedback@moneyandmarkets.com, and he said, I wonder if your audience would benefit from listing the top 3 or 4 marijuana-themed ETFs and differentiating between them. I know I would appreciate it greatly. Robert. Well, thanks for your email, Robert, and for using your email today. In this video, my team and I are going to reach out and hook you up with some free Money and Markets gear. We've got hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts, all sorts of good stuff. So be on the lookout for an email from my team to get you set up with that. Now, right now, there are about 10 primary exchange-traded funds that are themed around cannabis. There are many more than that. You've got derivatives of those like 2X Inverse, 2X Standard. So there are more than that. But I just want to focus on 6 of the more well-known cannabis ETFs. I'm going to show you side-by-side statistics and look at the stock movement for each one. Now, let's start with that side-by-side comparison of the 6 ETFs. I'm going to compare the Advisor Shares Pure U.S. Cannabis ETF, which is MSOS, ETFMG Alternative Harvest ETF, which is MJ, the Global X Cannabis ETF, which is POTX or POTX, the Advisor Shares Pure Cannabis ETF, which is YOLO, YOLO, and the Amplify Seymour Cannabis ETF, which is CNBS, and the Cambria Cannabis ETF, which is TOKE, TOKE. Now, as you can see from what I'm showing you here, there's a lot of variance between these 6 ETFs. 4 of them have similar expense ratios, which is basically the percentage of your investment taken in fees annually. So basically, when you invest in these ETFs, you do have to pay a management fee. This is the percentage of that of your investment that goes towards those management fees. But the other 2 are much lower. Now, their assets under management, which is basically the market value of the investments in the ETF, range from $740.1 million to $15.7 million. And the average daily volume, which is basically the value of the shares traded within any given day, go from 8.5 million to 470.9 million. Now, we can see that MSOS has 15 holdings, but the value of those holdings is $740.1 million, meaning they own a lot of shares of just a very few companies. That ETF trades lightly with about 13.6 million average daily volume compared to POTX. Now, because the cannabis market is limited, a lot of these ETFs hold the same stocks. The difference here is what their biggest holdings are. Now, for example, 92% of the holdings in MSOS as of today are in treasuries and derivative securities, and the remaining 8% are actual cannabis companies. MJ, on the other hand, has 18% in its sister ETF, the ETFMG US Alternative Harvest ETF, and 10% in Canopy Growth, or CGC. POTX has 10.4% in CGC and 9.4% in SNDL Incorporated. Now, this is why it's important to look specifically at what each of these ETFs are holding. MSOS is investing considerably less in actual cannabis companies than some of their other counterparts. And this is meant to mitigate risk in the cannabis that the cannabis market is facing presently. Now, let's look at side-by-side comparisons of performance. We'll zoom out to the last 12 months. In that time, TOKE has been the best performer of the 6, only down 47.2%. MSOS's risk mitigation has helped it, as it's only down 58.3%. The remaining 4 are off from between 61% and 70%. TOKE was bolstered by its holdings in Constellation Brands, Jazz Pharmaceuticals, Scotts Miracle-Gro, and tobacco companies, all of which have performed better than the broader cannabis market. YOLO, MJ, and CNBS have similar holdings, with the main difference being the percentage of each of those holdings. POTX's bets on big cannabis players like CGC and Aurora Cannabis, which is nearly 20% of the ETF's holdings, is the main reason why it's fallen 70.2% over the last 12 months. Now we can zoom in closer and look at the performance over the last 3 months. And we can see that risk mitigation for MSOS pays off even more, as the ETF is down just 1.1% since the end of May. TOKE is also performing better than the rest with a decline of just 8%. The other four are off from between 13.6% and 15% during that time period. Now let's get even closer and look at the 1 month performance. Now here we can see the risk mitigation for MSOS really paying off. Investors have turned more towards bonds with the market influx. Those treasury holdings in MSOS has pushed the entire ETF up 16.5% over the last month. Its bet on more fringe cannabis plays has actually hurt TOKE, as the ETF is down 3.2% over the same time. CNBS has been helped by its 50% holding of the US dollar, which has been strong over the last month, and as a result, that ETF is up 9%. The point here overall is that if you're looking to break into the cannabis market and looking at ETFs as a way to diversify, you really have to pay attention to the types of holdings these ETFs are invested in. Not all ETFs are equal. Their performance is largely based on not just their holdings, but the percentage of each of those holdings within the ETF. Over the long term, MSOS was not the best play, as you can see. However, zooming in closer, its bet on treasuries has made it a short-term winner. So see, you have to really look into that. So you have to look at a lot of different things. You cannot pay attention to the assets under management and the volume, which is fine, but you really want to look into, okay, what are the management fees? Meaning, how much am I going to have to pay to be into the ETF as a management fee? And more importantly, what is this ETF actually holding? And these holdings change on a regular basis. The more active the ETF is managed, the more apt they are to change on a regular basis. And you can find this information out on the ETF's home website or in different areas as well. ETF.com is a good reference to look and see how these holdings have changed. And if it's more actively managed, then you're going to see a lot of these ETFs pivot away from general cannabis and more into things that can protect it and gain more over time, over the short term rather. Whereas the ones that are less actively managed, even those that are probably charging less of a management fee because they're not actively managed, are going to just pretty much stay in the broad cannabis sector, but you're going to see that impact, the impact on the price, come from how the broader cannabis market is doing. So you really have to pay attention to these types of things whenever you're looking at ETFs. It's not just as simple as saying, I want to invest in cannabis, I'm going to pick a cannabis ETF and go. It doesn't really work that way. You really want to look at, compare each one of these and see, okay, which is the best one that's going to mitigate risk for a possible downturn in the market, and which one is going to give me the best exposure across the board. That's what you have to look at with these. So I really hope that helps you out, Robert, and helps out everyone in taking a broader look at these cannabis ETFs. Again, there's about 10 that you can find right off top, but there are more out there, to be sure. So you really want to look at, some of these are only invested in US plays, some of these are invested in global plays, some of these are, like MSOS, are heavily invested in things outside the cannabis market to boost its performance, but still invested in cannabis nonetheless, where some of these are just invested in cannabis across the board. So you really have to kind of look at these things with a close eye to make your determination on what ETF you want to invest in. That's all for me this week. If you do have a question about a cannabis stock or maybe the broader cannabis market, email me at feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. We're going to put that right down below there. And if we use your question in any of our upcoming videos, then we're going to send you some free Money and Markets gear. We've got hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts. Robert's going to get hooked up with some of that as well. And if you've had some of these, if you've had some free gear sent to you already, send me a picture. Would love to see you sporting your Money and Markets gear. Would love to see it. Just send it to feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. Don't forget about all the great content we have here on YouTube. Adam, Charles, myself, our entire team, we work very hard because we want to give you the best investment insight on the channel for free. Follow me on Twitter. I give you more insights into the cannabis market, also sports. It is football or soccer season, as I like to call it. And I am a huge soccer nut, so I pay attention to that very closely. You can follow me on Twitter at Invest with Matt C. That's Invest with Matt C on Twitter for not just investment insights, but also some sports and things like that. Kind of a mixed bag. If you follow me, I certainly try to follow you back. Thanks to everyone who watches all of our videos each and every week. We do this because we want to bring you the best insights, not just in cannabis investing, but the broader market and the economy to help you bolster profits in your portfolio. Check out Money and Markets each and every day. We provide new content to provide safe, sound, smart, simple, adaptable, profitable investment information. Check out my Stock Power Daily, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. I give you one highly rated stock based on our Stock Power rating system as something you should look into as a potential investment in your portfolio. I'm Matt Clark, research analyst for Money and Markets and host of the Marijuana Market Update. Until next time, everyone, safe trading.